Yes, you read the title correctly. There are no good shark movies. None.
But Sharktoz. Jaws was the biggest movie of its time. It broke multiple blockbuster records and was so big it had to be overtaken by Star Wars. And what about Deep Blue Sea? In that movie, the black guy actually lives. At least one of them. And what about the Mud movie series? That movie followed the books very, very closely. Actually, that's a lot, but it didn't. But still, what about all those other movies that do so good in the movies?
Hold on. Pump your brakes. Let me explain what I mean. When I say there are no good shark movies, I mean that there are no good shark movies for the sharks and how they're portrayed. Hello and welcome back to the Sharks World, ladies and gentlemen. This video here is going to serve as a bit of a follow-up to the previous video I made on what the media has done to sharks and their reputation. Why I am making a separate video regarding shark movies is because I would argue they are just as responsible, if not more responsible, for the damage to sharks' reputation. Now, I know, one or two people are going to argue, Sharktoz, they're just movies. They're meant for entertainment. And you would be correct. But my response to that would be, Jaws was also just a movie. And Jaws is 98% of the reason why we're having this conversation in the first place. You see, regardless of what people say, movies is not something for entertainment. Movies is a business. And the goal of a business is to sell. The image of Jaws sold lots. And people seeing that success are trying to emulate that success. Don't believe me? Look at this here. This is a picture posted by a gentleman who will remain nameless of his shark movie collection. Now, looking at it without seeing any titles, you will notice all of the pictures have a very common thing. They are all trying to emulate Jaws. With a shark, most of the time a great white or one of its relatives, mouth wide open, teeth showing, about to attack some helpless swimmer. Why I am pointing this out is because of the narrative, again, as I pointed out in the last video. But here's the point as to why I'm bringing this up. On all of my forms of social media, here on my YouTube, on my DeviantArt, my SoundCloud, even my Instagram, there is a common message amongst all of them, which is I'm here to give people another option on how to think about sharks. Imagine you're in school and you are given a test, and on that test, which is multiple choice by the way, you're given one answer. That is what's happening with people the world over. When it comes to sharks, whenever they hear the word shark, there is only one answer, one option on the table. Referencing that picture I just showed, that is the single option people are given. Why I'm making this channel, why I design my art the way I do, is to give people another option on how to look at sharks. Why I push back when people say that all this stuff is just movies and Jaws was just meant for entertainment is because the image of Jaws sells. And as long as the image of Jaws sells, they're going to keep doing it when it comes to movies, media, or whatever it is people point out. One of the things I noticed on the channel Nickelodeon is that at one point, I still don't know if it's going on right now, but most of the time, the only show that they would play was SpongeBob. Why is that? Not only is SpongeBob one of their longest, if not their longest running show, but it's the sure thing. It's going to sell. The same thing goes for sharks, movies, and their media. Because to them, in their eyes, it's the sure thing to make them money. At the end of my previous video, I stated a quote that I'm going to be posting more frequently. And it's that one day, the image of Jaws is no longer going to sell. That is why I want to encourage all of you, whenever you see a shark movie, push back on it. Don't go watch the movie. Tell people why this is wrong. Don't just say it's wrong. Tell them, here is what the facts are. And encourage people to go and see sharks outside of movies, in the wild. let them know that that is not the reality of the situation. This goes to the other point that I made in my previous video about when it comes to comparing sharks to other animals and how sharks are designed in media. Whereas it's not some evil cabal trying to plot against sharks and take them down, but it is done on purpose. Sharkto's design being water and dark, Zamtrio's design, the shark movies, it's all done on purpose. That's why I take issue with shows like Shark Week. Shark Week at one point was my favorite thing in the world to watch because it was just about the sharks and the lives they lived. But whatever the original point of Shark Week was, that point has been lost. Every type of advertising, every type of media outlet that promotes Shark Week, the imaging, the message, it is all done on purpose. Why? Because it sells. The way we push back at it is we simply don't partake in these type of shows. Again, this is not malicious, but as long as it sells, it's going to continue to destroy the reputation of sharks. And that's why I'm here. I'm here to put another option on the table for not just you guys, but for everybody else. So we have a seat at the table to present. Now, I'm going to be straight with you. This is not going to be an easy task. But the way I look at it is, I don't need to convince everybody. I just need to convince enough. A lot of people are very hive-minded. So when enough people start looking at a different option for sharks other than Jaws, other people will follow. And it doesn't even need to stay that way. Even when somebody looks at the image of Jaws, if there's another option on the table, they may still choose Jaws. But that split second, that moment where they pause and think, what about that other option? What about what that guy Sharktoz said? Even if they still pick the image of Jaws, that pause is all we need. That's the beginning. That is how we get the ball rolling in regards to this. This, I believe, is the missing piece in the fight for sharks. We are educating people about sharks the world over, but we also need to understand what the subconscious narrative is. A subconscious narrative that is pushed on purpose. And we also have to understand that not everybody understands sharks like we do. To take it a step further and to explain kind of where my head is at in regards to this logic is, I put people's understanding of any and everything in 3 levels, 1 to 10, 10 to 20, and 20 to 30. The people who are in 1 to 10 have little to no understanding of the topic at hand. In this case, it's sharks. The 10 to 20, these are the people who are able to memorize and regurgitate facts, but they don't really have that next level understanding. They don't ask the questions that really provoke thought. And then your 20s to 30s. These are the people who really know what you're talking about. Your David Schiffmans, your Jim Abernathys, your White Shark videos. These people truly have an understanding of the topics that they're talking about. But Sharktoz, where do you fall on this spectrum? For me, I would say I am a 23. 24 on my best days. And my reasoning as to why I'm not higher is because I believe I still need to get more time with sharks in order to get a next level understanding like these gentlemen have. But that's where I'd say I'd lie. Now, the reason I bring this up is because when it comes to explaining sharks to people or talking to somebody about them, me being at 23, I can't walk up to somebody at level 1 or 2 and talk to them like they're at my level. This is not to say I'm talking down to them, but I need to break things down and explain to them on the level of a 1 to 2. Not necessarily to insult them, but so they understand where I'm coming from at that level and then build it up from there. This is why I'm always giving analogies. to put things in simple terms and then build upon that. That is at least the strategy that I use to convince people when it comes to sharks. If I tried to talk to every single person as if they were on my level of sharks, they would look at me, they would nod their head, but they wouldn't understand what I'm saying. In their head, they were saying, this guy's nuts, this guy's crazy. I don't understand anything this guy's saying. What's an ampullae of Lorenzini? What's a lateral line, etc.? I would ask you as my audience to employ this technique next time you try to explain sharks or give an argument in favor of them to people in your circle. That's your homework for the next week or two. Tell me your results in the comments or other strategies that you use when it comes to convincing people about sharks. So, Sharktoz, is there any good shark media out there? Well, outside of my drawings, there are a number of very good shark artists out there that are actually doing sharks justice. When I get the time, I'm going to gather all their names together and give them a shout out, because they really do deserve the credit and they deserve the likes and attention. But outside of that, I would argue that the best shark game out there would be Abzu. No, Maneater is not a good shark game. That game is terrible. Don't play it. Abzu is my personal favorite game of all time. Please, if you're a shark enthusiast, play that game, or at least watch a playthrough of it. The other good one I would argue is Soil of Fish. It's the game you constantly see playing in the background. It's a free game that you could download in the Android store or the iPhone store. Good game, give it a look, something to pass the time with. But to wrap things up here, no. As far as I'm concerned, there are no good shark movies. And as long as the image of Jaws sells, as long as it's the thing that producers and directors are going to try to emulate, there will never be a good shark movie. The one day where the image of Jaws doesn't sell will be the day where I can relax and fully commit to just drawing sharks, putting out more shark content as far as stuff that I design. But until that day comes, I'm going to keep pushing this channel. I'm going to keep pushing a better image for sharks. As the real king shark, that is my duty. This is going to be a long fight. This is going to be a hard fight, but it's a fight that is winnable as long as we put a second option on the table. This is going to be where we end things for now. I would encourage you all to share your thoughts in your comments as far as how you want to change the narrative of sharks, or how you plan on convincing other people that sharks are not the image of Jaws. Thank you once again for giving me some of your time, and I'll see you in the next video. Until then.